Hello, fifth graders. We're going to read chapter 57 of Sophia's War. So we just found out that John, Andre, and Benedict Arnold, who were supposed to meet, were not able to. And Sophia is asleep on the bank of the Hudson River, and the Vulture just went right past her. Remember, the Vulture is the name of the ship that John Andre is on. So here we go. I awoke with a jolt, only to realize I had slept through the night. Springing to my feet, I looked around. To the north was a ship. It took but a moment for me to recognize the Vulture. I stared at it with consternation. Had the meeting of Arnold and Andre already taken place? Might Andre still be on the ship? Frantic, I hastened eastward along the shore of that wide inlet, walking, running, sometimes in my haste, stumbling. After a while, I began to grasp that I was not moving along an inlet, but the mouth of yet another river, a wide river. While I could see that in the far distance it was narrowing, I was unsure at what point I would be able to cross. I had gone perhaps half an hour, constantly balked and hot beneath the sun, when I spied two men by the river's bank. I halted. They were sitting side by side on the trunk of an old tree. Close was a canoe. What's more, these men were in uniform, soldiers. Yes, I could see that they were not red uniforms, but blue ones. Even so, I didn't know what to do. With my exhaustion and frustration, I was hardly capable of determining uniforms. I believed, or wanted to believe, that they were from the American army, but I dared not trust my judgment. If wrong, all would be lost. In my befuddlement, I even wondered, recalling that the Vulture was not so far away, that perhaps one of these men was General Arnold. As a result, I simply stood where I was, gawking. Before I could make up my mind what to do, one of the soldiers spied me and jumped up. His companion did the same. That one held a musket. Both wore blue jackets with bands of white across their chests. They stood there staring at me. But then, they could have no idea where I came from. With my dress disordered, soiled and torn, my face and hair the same, I might as well have been a witch. My first thought was that I should run away. However, you must believe me when I say it was not courage but utter fatigue that made me call out, "Who are you?" The soldier who had first stood answered, "Philip Grugans." He was a young man. "Richard Baden," said the other, middle-aged. Poised to flee, I say, "What army do you belong to?" "The upper party," said the young one. "American." "From Fort Lafayette," said the other one, named Baden. He nodded across the river. "Under the command of Colonel James Livingston?" Mr. Baden went on when I said nothing. "Who are you?" "Miss Molly Saville. I must speak with your commander." "Why?" They seemed truly bewildered. Though unsure what to say, I could not hold myself back. "Something awful is about to happen," I cried out. "What?" The direct question unnerved me. Who was I to trust? I said, "I could only inform your officer." They studied me. It was Mr. Grugans who said, "You need to tell us something." I pointed back from where I had come. "There's a British ship out there, the Vulture, just north of the land, off some point." "Teller's Point?" "I suppose," I said, only then realizing I had come close to where I wished to be. "She's bringing a spy." They exchanged looks before turning back to me. "Where you come from?" asked Mr. Baden. "New York City." Again they just gazed as if not believing me. Mr. Grugans said, "From British lines?" "Please," I said, "it's urgent. Your commander needs to know about that ship and the spy. You must take me to him." "It's some miles north." "I don't care," I cried, increasingly exasperated. "You sure about what you said?" "I beg you. You can see the ship for yourselves. Please, it's urgent." The two conferred in private voices, now and again glancing in my direction as if uncertain what to make of me. I suspect they thought me daft, and must do something on that account, if for no other reason. "All right," said Mr. Baden. "We'll take you. Come along." They went to their canoe, picked it up, and set it in the river, then beckoned to me to join them. I got in while they pushed it out. With strong paddle strokes, we crossed the river. As we went, I said, "Where are we?" "This is the Croton River, over there." Mr. Baden paused. "Do you really not know where you are?" "Only a bit." "Then how did you get here?" "Some fisher folk took me part of the way from Manhattan Island in their boats. For the rest I walked." "Alone?" said Mr. Grugans. I nodded. The two exchanged looks of doubt, but said no more. Once we had crossed the river, they set their canoe among the trees where I supposed it would not be readily seen. Mr. Baden said, "This way." With him in the lead and the younger soldier behind me, I think they were guarding me. We started walking along a wide path that went through the forest. Make a prediction. What do you think? Do you think they're good soldiers? Do you think they're spies? Do you think the general in charge is actually General Arnold, even though he's at West Point? I don't know. Guess we'll find out.